Good morning, everyone. Oh, we have an issue straight away to start the day. Fantastic. Let's sort that right out to start the day. There we go. Can we get it fixed? There we go. Jeez, what a start. All right, good morning, everybody. Check through chat. Asa, Chris, Noah, Max, Rob, Marek, Coop, Ramus. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so as always, we're going to start with a top-down analysis and go from there. So starting on the daily, you can see yesterday we pulled back off that top Bollinger, back down, testing and sweeping the NFP low. That was followed by a small retracement up towards the 5-day. This morning we've had a drive off these lows back towards the 5-day. So we can think about this as a fib, and what we're doing right now, all right, we're driving back towards a 50% retrace, back into an old imbalance, back into some supply, which I'm going to go over on the lower time frame. So let's get into the hourly chart now. Flipping over to an hourly right here. All right, so in an hourly, we are sort of boxed in. All right, we can think about how we're going to use liquidity. Hourly trend looks like this, okay, so far. So the question is, these are your box areas. This is where we are. We're building liquidity in here. Are we going to reprice higher through this imbalance? Maybe up to supply, something like this. And then we can think about, are we going to fail up here or get above or turn back down inside? That's option number one. Option number two is what we're doing right now. We're holding price from here to here. This is the imbalance. Does it peak through, fail, turn back inside, using and creating more liquidity? Or are we simply going to get heavy and start to fill this gap? Now, I'm less confident right now about this gap fill situation. And the reason is, if you look at the ES and the SPY, they have filled their gaps, right? So the equivalent of trading down to here right now, ES did that yesterday. It's completed this move, definitely overnight in the after hours and pre-market session. It's made this gap efficient. All right, so interested how we act there. When I'm looking at the SPY and the ES, they are trading rather differently right now, just in terms of those imbalances. So being very, very aware about divergence there. When we go to a lower time frame chart now, moving up to the 5-minute, we can see this old trend line's coming pretty useful. All right, this downtrend, those who do Malaysian SNR, downtrend, 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 break underneath it, use it as a rejection point, and then this morning, triggered the squeeze over it. So in Asia, we moved back down towards yesterday's low. We continued that move in London, and then buyers came in. Right, we got very tight down here, and here's your squeeze trigger out, which we're now repricing. This move here, back testing the old pivot high from this range. All right, so far this morning in pre-market has held, and we're retracing higher. So I don't want to chase this market higher. If we're going to squeeze higher today and reprice the H1, this gray box, all the way up into this area, you can even pull this down into these lower wicks if you wanted. But if we're going to squeeze up into these areas, I'm chasing the market late now. So what I'm going to need is a breakout, a retest to get long, or even better, a breakout through here, and then some form of trap to get long, trap in these swing lows under here, and then I can join for the squeeze up once I know a sufficient amount of shorts are trapped in the market. That's what I'm looking at today. We are really sort of 50-50, all right? I would say 50-50. We have resting liquidity right here. We have supply right here. We know buyers have been stepping up here, and we have a gap underneath only on the NQ. So this is really a box. I don't really want to be getting long there, all right? Ideally, the long was down here today, and I've missed these opportunities. So I need to wait, like I said, see if it can present something for me if I'm really thinking about the long. If we explode upside and start doing a failure pattern up here, then I'm thinking about that short rotation back down to where I know buyers are hanging out in the chart, all right? That's the best way I can put it. There's no news today coming either. Zero news. All the news, big news, will come tomorrow. CPI tomorrow. Do not forget that. We might have a bit of a shakeout today on the markets. We'll have to see, and we'll have to see how the Mag 7 opens. Right now, it looks like we're going to open right next to our 5-day moving average, going to a lower time frame chart. This blue squiggly line, that's the 5 days. Remember the relationship between the 5-day, 20-day and Bollinger Band. It's not surprising yesterday that we failed from the top Bollinger Band down here, and then we traded back towards the 5-day. Very, very common move. So I'm going to let this shake out this morning at the open to see what we do here. And I'm going to have one eye, as always, on the VIX and the ES. Normally after a drive like yesterday, VIX closed about 11% up. We normally have some form of retracement on the markets for a bounce. Like I said to my team this morning, the big question is that bounce, that first bounce day, whether it comes today or tomorrow, going to be sold into or not? Okay, do we bounce today? We can just go sideways all day and wait for CPI. That is also more than possible. So one eye on the VIX, right? We traded upside all of yesterday, squeezing from the low 13s out to 14.30. We're now trying to hold price at around 14. Again, if we can hold bids around 14, breakout of 14.30s, we will be looking for a price up towards 15s. If we do that, the market will roll over. If we trade back inside, the market will either trade sideways or might be able to have enough momentum for a bounce. Looking at the Mag 7 very quickly, let me have a quick look. All right, Apple traded upside yesterday, starting to find selling in the pre-market here back into yesterday's range. Microsoft weak into the close yesterday and weak so far in the pre-market. Amazon looks like it's possibly putting in some form of bottom to retrace maybe up to 228.60. Google showing continued strength, all right, gapping up in the after hours and the pre-market up. Very big actually, Google. Very, very strong. Meta also gapped up since overnight, holding its gains so far. Nvidia starting to look like it wants to curl and put in a bottom. I'd say 140 break on Nvidia would be key today. And Tesla recouping some of its gains, right? Did a huge move up on Friday and pre-market yesterday, gave the whole move back before putting in a W pattern, and it's retraced about 50% of yesterday's dump. So the market fairly mixed today, I would say, fairly mixed today currently. So all to play for today, no rush to do anything. We had a fantastic day yesterday. You can sit back, let the charts shake out, let them show you what they want to do, and we are going to go from there. You have about 90 seconds, just over 90 seconds till the market opens. So far, flow zones holding dips now, lower time frame algorithm holding dips. If we start to get these turn in order, right, where we have momentum, deep pullback, lower time frame, all in order like this, possible for a squeeze back higher like we talked about. Again, you need to be watching the higher time frame charts today. You need to be watching H1 to see where we reprice to. Jumping back in the charts, morning Coop, Ramus, good morning Jeff, good morning Thumper, good morning Aid, morning Miguel, morning Exister, morning Glenn, and morning Minix. Good morning everyone. Remember, yesterday's point of control is our hourly low right now, around 500. That 500 level is definitely going to be key. If we start fading that, the overnight point of control for now is 470. So I'm going to be very focused on this H1 this morning to see what we can do. I will not be fighting a trend today. If they want to trigger squeeze and go all the way back into 600, 650, they can do so. If they want to pop up this morning and fail and look for continuation lower, you can look for that continuation lower. You cannot be joining that short near yesterday's lows. That is a very high risk short. If you miss the short, if it gives a short today and you miss it, you will need to wait for a breakdown retest of yesterday's lows and see it stay heavy. If you don't see it stay heavy, don't be shorting that bottom. They can trap underneath yesterday's lows very, very easily. So here's the open. Let's see what we get. So all of Mag 7 other than Microsoft opening green on the session. VIX trading back downside for now towards 14s into its deep flow zone on an M10. So remember, we are at the top of the range that we created in that bounce yesterday. We're not in a good buying location right now. We either need a breakout retest or a much deeper pullback with some form of short trap. If you're thinking about being a buyer, thinking about being a short seller, it's not the worst location right now, but momentum is not on your side. Morning Redline, morning Steve, morning Minux, morning everyone. The ES trading back down towards VWAP. Amazon now red on the day. Let this shake out. So rejecting the 5-day, rejecting that H1 supply we'd put in overnight so far. Might want to retest some of yesterday's lows. We'll have to see. I'm on a 2-minute chart just for now, guys, just to let it shake out a little bit. So trading back into yesterday's point of control for now, around this 500 mark. Liquidity on the book, I'm just having a look. There's a 120 order down at 21,400. Not many big orders on the book so far this pre-market. Nothing notable, nothing that I'm looking at that stands out. Could very easily be a chop day today. Could very easily just trade inside that afternoon range that we put in yesterday. We will have to see if they can trigger something or not. So ES getting a small bounce off of VWAP here. Do they trade straight through this morning's high for a breakout or not? This is the question. Or do sellers come back in here where we know they've been stacking since yesterday afternoon for a continuation lower? Nothing here I want to trade yet. We're only 2 minutes into the session. Just going to be patient. But those of you who are opening range breakout traders, you can be thinking about this opening 1 minute range. So far, it's extended that 1 minute range to the downside. If you're a 5-minute bar trader, you just need to wait a little bit longer. ES back to VWAP yet again then. So most of Mag 7 green. Microsoft now go green. Amazon's gone green. Apple giving back its gains. 0.25% down currently on Amazon. On Apple, sorry. God, I can't talk. So ES letting go of VWAP, SPY letting go of VWAP, looks like it wants to trade back down towards overnight and yesterday's lows currently. NQ much, much higher than that, still comfortably over its Asia and London range. ES looking much, much heavier here, coming down towards previous day lows here on the ES. So relative weakness in the ES. Again, tech, pretty much other than Apple, all green, and Apple might go red to green here as well. So we have divergence in the market yet again.
Order submitted.
Taking a long here for a squeeze
Order
up.
Canceled.
Wow. Stopped out instantly there. It's going to go without me. I'm on the wrong ATM. That will be why. So let's fix that straight away, shall we? I don't know why Ninja has me on the wrong ATM. I've never used that ATM in my life. So I lost 0.68 cents there. Absolute madness. All right. Waiting now then. So can't join this squeeze up now. A little bit late for a trigger in here. Reclaiming those flow zones. Looking good here for upside, in my opinion, to come and sweep. Complete divergence. Yeah, exists. I just don't get it. Like, I've got the same what do you call it, workspace every single day. So to have it randomly do stuff, always I find a little bit odd, but maybe it's done me a favor there. ES coming down towards previous day low, very close to sweeping it here on the ES. Maybe it comes and tags in that gap fill area on the SPY in New York session. So it might have done me a favor here by not letting me in. Yeah, it's really bizarre when that happens. I had it last year. I had a bug in one of my workspaces. I had to create the whole workspace again, and it worked absolutely fine. It feels like every year or so, I get a few bugs in the workspaces. So maybe it's going to do this squeeze up now and clear out some of this liquidity, which is what originally I was looking for, just to reprice through here, just a short little squeeze through 40. And then I was thinking about runners, but big divergence here is ES still trading downside towards the lows. Is ES going to find bids in these areas? So here goes this squeeze. So if you took this, remember you're very early in the session, you should be partialing out fairly aggressively. If you're early in this session taking this, ES trying to bounce back to VWAP, it hasn't swept previous day low yet. So there's the 10 points I would have had, the first 10 points on the board. Again, you're in supply here on the H1, trading into an old imbalance. Can it extend through? If you get the extension through, you'd be looking for 550. ES still weak, cannot get through VWAP. All of the Mag 7 now green on the session. Google on a flyer, up 5% on Google. Wow. Tesla again, 2.16% up. That 400 level is going to be key on Tesla. Can it break out of that 400? Still looks like it wants to clear out this liquidity to me for a potential drive to 550, but definitely this flat top here, it feels like it wants to clear this out. Some orders stacking up, small size, 45 and 550, like we talked about. That felt like a very clear level to come and take. 550, that H1 that we put in yesterday at 1 o'clock, that 1 o'clock high. So there's the clear out of the overnight range. Just done it by a tick. Maybe more than a tick, a couple points maybe. So it's cleared out that liquidity. That would be my TP1 if I was still in this, which I'm not. And let's see, do they fade this down now after clearing out? Like I said, just for a little short squeeze up there, and it would be runners to 550 if it was going to allow it. ES very close to taking out previous day low here now. If ES sweeps or comes down to gap fill and then trades back upside, then maybe we get strength in all the indexes. If it continues to trade downside, I would not like the longs here in NQ. Complete divergence in the market yet again. Might get some gains today. VIX trading upside right now, 1430. VIX might break out here. If VIX breaks out here and it heads to 15, the market's going to find it hard to have any upside today, or at least the SPY is. So flow zones holding again for now. ES is still not swept previous day low. Here's the squeeze trigger coming then on the Qs. 50 will be the next level of liquidity. If you can clear out 50, then you have potential upside on an H1. H1 can reprice to 82 and then come and start attacking that supply level. So Looks like the long thesis to get in here was good. ES making it especially hard though. This is at least 10 days now where we've had massive divergence, where tech's been strong and SPY's been very weak. Make sure you are taking profits if you are in this. All right, don't be overstaying your welcome when you have divergence this large in the market. I'm not in it. I tried to get in it, wrong ATM, stopped me out instantly. I don't then chase back in instantly. It took me a second to realize what was going on. So down a whole 68 cents on the session. Hilarious. I don't even know that. I mean, it's so crazy. It's literally, I entered and it exited instantly. It must have been an ATM for a tick or something. Not one of my ATMs, that's for sure. So ES is still not taking out previous day low. Still doing a dance between previous day low and the VWAP. So expansion possible here. 550, this was your level of liquidity. Look at your H1 bar. Look at yesterday afternoon spike before we then traded downside. This was the area of liquidity. So this is what I was targeting, just to move into here. So I don't know what that is. About 30 points would have been a nice start to the day. Solid start. So expansion upside now. Through 50s, I'd be runners only now if I was you. And you'd be looking for a move into 85 and then higher. So it does look like we have now confirmed on a 15-minute chart our first higher low and higher high. So I'm thinking about, can we get bullish into yesterday's area of where we broke down from and maybe above that if it really wants to trigger a squeeze out. Again, I would need the ES to start joining in. ES now trading up to VWAP. So this would have been a very nice trade for me had I done some more or taken more care and made sure I was on the right ATM. It happens. I'm only human. I still make mistakes. So VWAP going to be key here on the ES. Do they let it through? Is this going to be a failed breakout on the NQ if they reject VWAP and trade downside? NQ looking pretty good here though. Just a grind up since the open. Shorts probably stuck in this, going add. And at some point they're likely to feel max pain and start stopping out, triggering a violent move upside, and then we have to see if there's any continuation. So a really nice move there. It's frustrating. I think I was long here and got stopped out instantly on a tick. Felt like an obvious move to come and attack the liquidity. So repricing that whole H1, like I said, you can come up to the top of around 80, 85, 83s. If we expand through that, you'll be looking at yesterday's supply. Right, on the higher time frame, remember, we're looking at this. We're looking at repricing this, and then do we get into this? If we come all the way up here and we hold price, then this will be a giant inverted head and shoulder, and we can think about expansion up into here. It is also possible we come up here and we fail and trade back down to this level, so there might be a scalp opportunity back into here as well. I've missed that first trade. Well, I say missed. It's a bit harsh, isn't it? I executed it, but had the wrong strategy on. Yeah, very nice aid. Yeah, very, very nice. This is going to punish me now just by squeezing up all session without a pullback, you know. This is why you need to be more organized than I was this morning. This is now a very, very nice trade. So my entry was actually 27. Oh, this is going to sting, isn't it? This is going to sting. This is going to sting. So you can all have a laugh. I've now trade the ATM, but you can have a laugh. Enter and exit instantly. So on the wrong ATM, and we are in a squeeze. So shorts well and truly stuck in this. Mag 7 very, very strong. All of it green as we trade up to that whole number 600. We've repriced the H1 now, so now you think about whole numbers and the supply on the H1 overhead. All right. Trim trend, trailing 5, lovely work. That is very, very nice work indeed. Great trading aid. So yeah, we're expanding higher now. No reason to think about shorts right now. All right, I can't chase the long here, but there's no reason to think about shorts yet. Yes, we're coming into interesting areas, I would say. Interesting areas from sort of 90 up to 650. But no pattern here. Interestingly, ES did not sweep. It just held those lows and is looking to expand. So we've completed that imbalance on the H1. All right, filled that whole imbalance on the H1 from yesterday's violent move down in the 10 o'clock candle. Does this provide a dip to go higher, or are we going to start failing back down into range here? Remember, we can have a failed breakout, or we can have continuation. That's what we're thinking about. Cannot be buying up here, in my opinion. I'm not interested in buying up where we have some supply, starting where we're very, very extended from flow zones. Very, very extended from them because we've squeezed right out. We just absolutely punished all the shorts going add, not understanding we were going to search for liquidity higher. Yeah, that one definitely stings. 60-point trade left on the table there for me. Nice, Max, up 1K. Well done, everybody who took that. It's one of those, I have a rule, when I make a mistake, I don't get straight back in. It took me a few seconds to realize what I'd done, and by that time, my opportunity was gone. So ES has not cleared out its levels yet. All right, trading back up to its pre-market high here. Still, the flow zones are down here. I'm going to move to a 1-minute chart now. Oh, wrong chart. It needs to play catch up. It needs to play catch up. Remember, I was trying to get long here this morning underneath this trap for this. Need to wait now as we've filled the imbalance on the H1 that we keep talking about. I'm going to remove that grey box now. I don't need it. So pretty much went wick to wick on the H1, finding some sellers here for now. ES again has not broken through its pivot. Has not broken through its pivot. So this can trade all the way back down, downside into 540, 530s if it wants to. If it wants to really drift down, the ES is really going to reject. It can do that move. Would be ugly on the session then. We'd have to see if we're going to base above these old H1 highs. Do buyers come in 550 to 535 around these areas? If not, What I'm worried about is the look of the ES. Remember, it's big divergence here. So we've filled the imbalance, tapped into supply, starting to see some selling. ES back to VWAP. Trading back down on that H1 then, like we talked about after filling. Very heavy here after that squeeze. Here's 550s. Remember, that was the old level that it broke out from. ES very heavy. It's very hard here because we've done such a big move and ES has failed to take out its high. Still left previous day low as well. So was this a reprice for a failed breakout? Does it get heavy here? Point of control now at 530. These days are always tricky when it does this. ES could easily come for previous day low here. Squeeze up, elevator back down. Not much liquidity on the tape either, so I'm just having a scan around as we trade back to point of control. Point of control 530 on that H1 bar. Feel like ES wants to come for that previous day low. I'm just going to let this shake out a bit after that squeeze, that initial squeeze up. Don't like how it looks. And here's the reason why. The filling that imbalance, tapping supply is getting absolutely hammered back down now. So do we come back right down into the location of yesterday? That's the question. NQ still showing relative strength with ES trading right back down to previous day lows. Not taking it out yet. We need to take out 6,060. Oh yeah, I need to change Nightbot. Sorry about that, hot snap. Yeah, exactly. Late buyers getting roasted, chasing the market up there. But like my wife's just smashed a glass next door. Yeah, I will change Nightbot after this session. Thank you for reminding me. So VIX is trying to do that breakout. ES very close to previous day low. NQ trading back down towards the VWAP then. Mag 7 still green here, interestingly. Previous day low still hanging there. It's in a straight sell right now. Possibly, Glenn. It's a little bit early to call that a right shoulder yet because you would need to see the breakdown of it. But yes, so far that push up and failure is a first good signature kind of thing, I would say. Yeah, exactly. Beginning of it. Beginning of it. So tag a VWAP. Still no previous day low sweep on the ES. Very, very odd behavior in general this morning in the two indexes. So we had a good squeeze on the NQ. Got stuck on that H1 level. Faded back down. ES didn't take out the high and hasn't taken out a previous day's low. It's trading underneath VWAP. NQ is trading at VWAP. It's just a little bit messy right now is the best way of me calling this, I guess. A little bit messy. Nice aid. Yeah, you got that nice squeeze out. Well done. Feels very heavy here, even though Mag 7's holding on, which is interesting. So trying to hold VWAP. Again, ES still not taken previous day low. What I don't like is we're just hanging around in internal liquidity now. Looking at the M5 chart, maybe the NQ wants to come underneath 505 again before it moves higher. Maybe it can't move higher and we just trade sideways. That might be it for that. Honestly can be it for the day. It could just be that squeeze and we trade sideways all day waiting for CPI. This is the main problem. I feel like I've missed that trade. And that failure, it's given no real reason to join. It's just a straight fail down without a first bounce up to think about getting short into. So one move up and straight back down, no bounce relief yet. Do we get some move up into sort of this area up here somewhere? Starting to try and do it. Lovely. Up towards the flow zones now. So locked in a very small trade there for this squeeze up. I'm not going to hold much longer than this. ES now, the ES now looks like it wants to break out with VIX trading downside. Like I said, there might be a lot of games in the tape today with CPI tomorrow. It definitely is what it feels like. I'm actually just going to chill for a minute. What I don't want to do is get caught here. Should be a first bounce to sell into, but that pullback, right? We're into a new H1 bar now. We are above the key area of yesterday. So do buyers want to step in here? It's really, really tricky. Well, ATR on that last candle just ripped straight up to 31. right? So big, but average ATR on the session before that was about 14.15. So we really moved higher on that squeeze right here. So what I'm concerned about, we need to think about higher time frame. What have we done on the H1? Drove up, right? Trap shorts here, drove up, squeezed out. Trap buys up here. All we've really done on that H1 bar is pull back to an area. If we hold above this area, we still have the ability to reprice higher, which is why I'm a little bit cautious right now, because I'm thinking, do we get multi-time frame alignment? Is there really a short here to get back down into here, or are we just going to go straight squeeze? What's making it hard is the lack of alignment in the indexes. Thank you, Aid. Because it really feels like we've just got buyers and sellers on the New York session getting trapped here. It does not feel like external, like people in swing positions or anything like that. This is trading back and forth in range. Oh, Tyson. Well, I saw your message last night. You had a really good session yesterday, so don't worry. Tuesday before CPI, you know, it might be tricky. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just going to burn puts and calls and trap lots of liquidity for tomorrow. So that was the first bounce then. Let's have a look at that from a fib point of view into golden pocket. All right, so the sellers will need to come in here. And if you are selling this, you need to respect where we held from. All right, so you'd need to partial out here and you'd need to see a continuation lower. If it doesn't do that, then what we might get, I'm going to have to delete this now. What we might get if it pulls back at all is something like this. Because remember, this here is the H1 pivot. This is where demand is, because we've broken out of the level. This is what I'm saying. It's a little bit tricky here. Little bit tricky here this morning. I was a buyer this morning from this same level because it was an H1 break, retest, breakout. This can just be a retest. It can go again. It is making it very, very hard. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not easy trading, and the volatility has definitely spiked here in the last couple minutes. So shorts trapped at the lows, longs trapped at the top. What was the message I left to you at the very beginning of the session in Discord? You have to be careful on your positioning today. It is not clear, basically, if the H1 is going to create that right shoulder and roll over, or if we are just going to do an inverted head and shoulder and reprice all the way back into supply. But like I said, all the time we were moving lower in that move, Mag 7 was green, and it's still green. And VIX now is starting to break down. If VIX lets go of 14, trades back down to 1380, 1360, market can put on a squeeze. What I don't like is the look of ES. We've put in a W this morning, but we have not pushed through any liquidity. We haven't expanded the range at all. Nice, Max. Great work. So I'm guessing you took the first move up this morning. I don't know if you took the short, but you probably took that squeeze back up that we were just talking about. So here's key now. This is intraday supply, nothing more than that. Do shorts come in here and do buys step back in here, right? Or do we just simply do this? If there's so many shorts trapped, we're going to just go straight up and not give any pullback for them to get out. I'm not playing this right now. I don't feel good about this price action right now, personally. I think it's going to offer massive moves. So if you get it right, I think it's going to be really, really nice. Upside feels like the momentum in control. Still early in the session, right? We've only been trading 35 minutes. Plenty of time left. Oh, Coop, the green names in the chat are the members. So I launched a membership yesterday. I think it's $4.99. Just to help me provide the stream. $4.99 a month. And then they get that and some emojis and some content every now and again. And some days I might make, if we get trolls, I will make chat member only. Yeah, Tesla, 404 now. Nice work, Aaron. Yeah, that 400 mark was key on Tesla. It's broken straight through it, up almost 4% on the day. So Tesla and Google, that all happened because of a chat that was happening yesterday about the chips between with Elon and someone else. I saw it yesterday. Yeah, exactly, Glenn. I'm just going to let it like calm down. That we'll get to pick a trend, right? We will get to pick a trend. Really focusing on the 5-minute and 15-minute here to stop me doing anything. If you look at that last 15-minute bar, came right down to where we found buys earlier, soaked up, and now we're back at the top of that 15-minute bar. And if you look left and you look at the 15-minute bars yesterday from the open and pre-market, we're trading back into there where we had supply. Does feel like it wants to break out. The hard thing here is you're buying high in the session. We're extended from these flow zones because we've done violent moves. ES is still not cleared out any liquidity. Right, ES is very, very weak. Nowhere near yesterday, get your words out, yesterday's afternoon spike. All right, nowhere near it. It's trading on the underside of that belly. So the bear flag we did yesterday in the breakdown on the SPY on the ES, we are trading underneath it. It is sitting above us. Supply sitting above us right now on the ES. Very different to the NQ, which is basing above yesterday's afternoon spike. Don't want to see sideways. This is starting to stack the right way, but really we need to see a higher low here and a go or something like this. Very tricky buying high up here. Not ideal. And you've got that 600 mark, just that psychological level. And they absorb that squeeze. Remember, we were a buyer here this morning for this move up. That was easy money. I said no longs up here. Now we filled the imbalance. We failed. There was no short to get involved in. And then there was no short this side, all right? So just squeeze straight back up. So squeeze up, elevator down, squeeze up. Do we clear out and go now? Again, still no alignment across the indexes. VIX, though, is trading downside, right? VIX is at 14. You would expect ES to have some strength here, to show some strength. New high of day on the SPY. No new high of day on ES yet. Let me check that 630, 930 level. Yeah, it hasn't quite broken it on the ES yet, but the SPY is getting going now. SPY needs a break of 605.44. That would trigger the move to yesterday's afternoon spike. $600 the level. All right, psychological level through that. 650. There's a seller on the book up there, but it's much, much thinner today. We're not looking at 200, 300, 600 lots like we have been in the last few sessions. So maybe we just drift higher. There's your 600 break. So this is an example of the V-shaped bottom that we talked about yesterday, Glenn. Lack of structure up, lack of structure down, straight back up again because there was no move like this. So V-shapes always happen when we have a lack of structure. Coming into yesterday's New York Open. Where was today's New York Open? This right here. Morning, John. So remember, we've taken out that old H1 high now. thinking about longs now. I'm thinking about, can we pull back and hold price? Don't want anything too deep. I want flow zones and everything to start stacking up. I really want ES to start participating. Don't want to be buying too high. Remember where you are. Make sure you're zooming out. Remember where you are. This is where we failed from yesterday. Remember where you are. I don't want to be buying in here. I need a pullback or a nice juicy short trap to get involved in. Right here. I don't want to buy in that section if I can avoid it. Yes, looks like it now wants to get going. We basically completed the cup. If you think about the ETFs, we're basically completing a cup back up towards where we started everything from this downside move in the New York session yesterday. So location not ideal now. Our thesis was good earlier. That buy was good. Where we said no longer to buy, you know, where a short area was coming in, but it didn't really give a short trigger. I don't think there's much of a short trigger here. I mean, I guess you could take this breakdown risking this, but I don't love that trade with momentum upside, but it did give it, and then buy a step back in. Now we're getting stuck up here again with ES failing to break out yet again. So it might just be a range day here. It is possible. Let's see how we act at the flow zones. Do some bids start to come in? Feels a little bit dangerous to me today. Feels a little bit dangerous. Watching that last M5, 470 was the low on that last M5 if it wants to whip it. Just over 15 minutes until we get a new initial balance set for the day. Top of the M15 would be 75-ish. Point of control way down at 28. I want to see some form of bear trap now. I don't think it's going to give it to me. I don't think it's going to give it to me. It's expansion. So starting to flag here off the flow zones. $600 key level there, just psychological level so far. Again, SPY and ES have not got through their opening print on the New York session. Right? They're still trading inside the range they've created, not got through the opening print. Cannot chase this market. Even if they trigger the squeeze, that's what they're going to want to happen. They're going to want you to chase it. There we go. So flag holding up here through the 600s now. Is the SPY going to finally join in? Who knows? They're making this so hard to get involved today. We are into the levels where we started to break down from yesterday. So if we're going to really trade upside, we can trade up to that wick high that we put in, basically 650. Coming to yesterday's New York Open. VIX now under 14, so it's going to try and trade back into 1380, 1360 on the VIX. Like we said, we expect a bounce day after a 10% day up on the VIX, which we had yesterday. It was almost 12% yesterday on the VIX. We didn't know if the bounce day would come today or tomorrow. Do they sell that bounce? That's the key thing. Do they look for a lower high on the higher time frame? Looks to me like the daily just wants to build out some liquidity for trend up later in the week. Really, I need to see some form of trap here, like maybe like this, something like this. Needs to make a new high first, or a reason to liquidate this and then turn. Tricky day. After a really nice day yesterday, after fluffing that first entry, it's been a little tricky for me. So ES has now broken out of its New York Open. No close above it yet, but it is trying to. It is trying to get above those levels. At 10 minutes or 11 minutes to initial balance. Volatility slowing right down here now. Still inside the IB, remember, we're still inside IB, but we are in trend up. On the session, we have put in a higher low on the H1 and a higher high, and we're trading up to the point of origin where sellers came in yesterday. That's why I don't want to be long right here in this block. Need deeper pullbacks with traps to think about longs. Yeah, we have to wait. We have to wait, Titan. And if it goes without us, so be it. This is probably a good opportunity here. His flag. Retesting this. Again, we've got supply all in here right now. Looking at Nvidia puts, yeah, I haven't really looked at those. What was the key level on Nvidia? Let me have a look. Well, you got that drive up this morning for that 140. So yeah, 140. If 140 holds, or 139, 140 holds, I'd be very, very careful that it doesn't create its first higher low on this pattern for a move upside. You have got the 20-day and 5-day above it. Good morning, Trading Wizard. Good morning, everyone. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. All right, haven't said it yet. Let's get it up to 50 likes like we always do. Slower session so far on the day. All right, we called out the long. Some of you got it very, very nicely. I obviously fluffed it. Took a little bit of the piece up for the squeeze back up. Just waiting now. For what, Max? I think there's only a 50% sale on Apex at the moment. I think that's all there is. If that's what you're talking about. That's the max sale there is right now, unfortunately. Yeah, Apex. Yeah, the max sale right now is 50%. Maybe that will change into Christmas or afterwards. I don't know. This is probably the longest they've gone right now with that without doing a sale, but they've had sales on pretty much all year, so maybe that's why. So momentum coming out of the market here. Like we said, location to buy up there was not good. I don't like much right now looking at the charts. M5 looks like nice expansion higher. M15 maybe can hold this block in towards 70 or 80, but it feels very iffy to me across the board today, which I'm not surprised about. I did say at the beginning, I felt like there'd be some games coming into CPI tomorrow. What you don't want to do is get chopped up and ruin your day. We had a really good day yesterday. Don't try and push too hard today. We get CPI, big red news tomorrow. Market might be building liquidity, trapping both sides into it so it can go and abuse them for that CPI print tomorrow. A small buyer on the book today, 550 with a 60 lot. Not much on the book today. And then there's a bigger buyer, still only 100 lot down at 400. These are not big prints we're seeing on the book today. So not many people active so far, as in passive buyers and sellers, not many people active. One of those days. So we are now underneath this low, which created this high. So how it acts here, does it continue down or does it pivot for the trap? Apple now starting to go red on the day. Yeah, Bo. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd session. Yeah, we searched for the liquidity. All right, so a squeeze this morning. I don't know if you were here for it. We called that squeeze up. And because it was just a squeeze with no real buying, then we gave it all back. And then it found bids at the same levels on the H1 and then has bid back up and now kind of trading sideways. It's trying to wait to see if the market wants to join in across the other indexes. What were you saying, Max? Sorry about that. Nightbot telling you off for asking people to do more likes. Yeah. Hit the like button, people. I don't know what we're on right now. I'm not counting, but do me a favor. We like to try and get to 50 every day. Market feels like it's trying to roll a bit deeper here. But again, like I said, I don't like the alignment. I'm looking at the 15-minute, the 5-minute, the 1-minute, the hourly. There's nothing here that's screaming to me to take a trade right now. This is probably going to be the initial balance, probably going to be set where it is, unless something drastically changes in the next 3 minutes. That's probably going to be the high for the IB. ES is trying to put in a pivot here. M15 is trying to hold its old breakout level. That's what we're tapping into at the moment. Yes, going to attempt to make a new high, is it? Sellers still up there. Lack of momentum on ES, like we've had it all morning. VIX hanging around the 14, so it traded downside under 14, coming back to test 14 now. This feels very choppy to me. Definitely not a risk-on environment right now. Has offered some nice trades. There's no doubt about it. It has offered some nice trades, but if you didn't get that morning shove up with me, I think getting that short back down was very, very hard to take, and getting that squeeze back up was not the easiest. It was not the easiest. It's lacking structure, really. Very aggressive, quick moves. What Tyson's talking about is the 940 candle, 950 candle, and 10 o'clock candle on an M5. You've got straight up, straight down, straight back up through it. That's what he's talking about. So basically thin in all accounts. So now we're trading back into that level. I'm watching an M15 here. I think do not like what I'm seeing. Maybe we trade back downside here. I'm not sure. Like if I'm not sure, I'm not taking something. If my setup isn't screaming at me, I'm not taking something. If we start to break down, I can think about where and how I'm going to get short. But again, that supply holding up on the H1 up top. All right, if you look at my M5, look at this red box. Go left. This is where we broke down from yesterday. So we've repriced into it. Question is, do we find buyers now here where we broke out from? Do buyers step in around 40? If they don't, we've got like something like this. Very odd session, yeah. Well, CPI tomorrow, I talked about it right at the beginning, definitely talked about it in Discord. Likely to be some games today. Very, very common before a big print like that. Again, where we've just traded into is yesterday afternoon spike high. This is why it's tricky. Look at an M15 or an M5. Look at the level yesterday. We've traded back into where we broke out from. Yesterday's spike afternoon high. So basically 50s down to 25s. Do they hold that? If they hold that, it has potential to trade upside. If they don't hold that, maybe we put in a smaller head and shoulder on like an M15 and roll over. It's really, really tricky because we've got lack of alignment right now. Initial balance now printed as well, and you are basically in the middle of that initial balance. Mag 7 are all green. This is super ugly. Yeah, if you're looking for that whole fill, I mean, we filled the whole thing on an M5, tapped back into where we found buyers. Still chance of putting in a high low on an M5. I just don't, I literally like nothing right now. Yeah, exactly. Middle of the initial balance. ES has room to trade upside, right? ES has not done any of the moves we've done. It has room to trade upside, but it can't get going. And from this session, this is what we've done really. This can still be a higher low. Does it get stuck here? If it gets stuck here, do we make a lower low, lower high and start rotating back down if ES gets weak? If it reclaims this, it will use this liquidity. These are the two options. This is what I'm waiting for now. I don't like anything else other than those moves, and even then I might not trade those moves. I want to be very careful buying up here, anywhere up here today. But now all of a sudden ES wants to go and attack the IB high. Yeah, tricky session. It's a tricky session. But like we said, like, not every day would be perfect, guys. So like yesterday we had a really good session. And today it's been a bit more tricky. Don't give your gains away, right? Don't be slamming buttons, forcing anything. If it's not there, we just wait. We wait. That's why we take and kill when it's there and when it's there only, right? Don't force anything in. So new high of day on ES, look at that, like the divergence really playing out now. VIX starting to die underneath 14. Probably wants to trade back into 1480, 1460. So like I said, ES can get going. ES can trade, what's this high from yesterday? ES might want to trade all the way up to 83, which would also be its 5-day moving average. Low zones all starting to go flat here. Lower time frame bearish, higher time frame bullish, lack of alignment. Lower time frame and higher time frame algos stacked together. Like there's nothing here telling me nice trend day. Is this the lower high to go lower? The problem is you've got VWAP and you've got yesterday's breakout level right underneath us right here. It's making it really, really tricky. Okay, give me an example. This here is key. All right, this is where this was supply, broke through it, dunked underneath it. Does it hold this area? If it holds this area, it can keep trading upside. So even if you're looking for a lower high here, you haven't got much room into this now. Supply becomes demand. That's why it's tricky right here. There is no clean move yet that said we are directional. The best move for the day was that long, basically just after the open. It was the most obvious move. Low-hanging fruit, search for the liquidity. That was an obvious move. TR, yeah, maybe. I mean, I have no idea. It really depends what that print comes out as, and what they want to do. ES feels like it wants to drift higher and attack the supply from yesterday, but it's struggled to get going. You can argue both sides here. You really can argue both sides here. You can argue that this could form a bear flag for a lower high and a breakdown, and then you can argue that this here is a higher time frame demand block. It's not pretty, really not pretty. Once we get through some of this, should be more clear, but it might not be in today's session. Like I said, it might be for tomorrow. It might be a tomorrow session problem. It's weird because gut feeling says NQ trades down and gut feeling says ES trades up. So that says everything you need to know. Morning, Foster Scott. Morning, buddy. Do I need to eat? Yeah, I always need to eat. Have my coffee, though. It's a good start. Oh, gut feelings. I see what you're saying. So right in the middle of the session here, ES is just underneath its IB high. ES is putting a W this morning, then made a nice flag, and it's tried to break out, retesting the base or the breakout point of its flag on an M5, M10 right now. The question is, can it get through and expand? It has liquidity higher to search for. NQ is a very, very different chart. It does not have liquidity higher that it needs to go for. It can go for it, but it doesn't have stuff it needs to go for. I said, gut feeling says NQ wants to break down and ES wants to go up. That's never a good thing. Do they break down this flag here? There we go. So joining a little bit of this, being very careful here because we are into higher time frame demand, like I keep talking about. So literally tapped into higher time frame demand and took my trade off straight away. This is the problem. So what did I make from that? Bugger all. Like 10 points, and then tried to hold and it wouldn't go. Like I said, you can see it on an M5. This level here, this is why we keep getting stuck down here. Till it lets go of that, it can't really trade lower. So M5 breakdown, got stuck in here, bounced straight back up. I'm basically flat on the day. There's nothing really going on here. So like I said, feels like it wants to break down, but higher time frame demand is in here. This is the importance of having multi-time frame charts, so you know your areas. You've got to be able to zoom out and see what the H1 is trying to do. Again, massive divergence. ES about to make a new high on session. With that said, I'm going to grab some food really quickly because I am hungry and it's going to stop me staring at the screens too much. I'll be back in 1 minute. All right, what's changed? Absolutely nothing. Funny that. So trading back down to that same area again. ES starting to reject though. ES is starting to reject. Some of its algos based above it. Nothing clean yet, but definitely some selling up there above the IB high. And you have to be very, very careful here, understanding what you're coming into. This is yesterday afternoon's high. You have to understand this is yesterday's afternoon high right here. We can make this smaller if you want. This right here. All right, you have to respect this. Buyers want to absorb this to make a higher low, to go higher, they will. It is very, very tricky conditions. If you fail to understand the multiple timeframes right now, it's going to make it hard for you. Doesn't mean it can't trade lower. If ES starts to fail, if we start to fail through this spike, trade through point of control, we can trade back down to the lows of overnight and yesterday. Absolutely, it is possible to do that, but the structure right now is not telling us we're going to do that. Mag 7 still all green on the day. Temptation here is to just slam short and think that we're going to puke the whole thing back, but I won't be doing that. Not much liquidity on the book again. Nothing notable size-wise, having a little scan around. Nice work, John. 21,650 is a 50 lot up there. Not much to the downside. Yeah, lovely work, John. That's really good. What did you get, John? Did you get the squeeze higher, the first move? Yes, new high here. So above the IB high, starting to print a new high here. Yes. Yeah, lovely work, John. That was the best move of the day. So ES will try and attack now. It's going to try and attack towards 83. That's where it wants to go. It wants to get up towards 83. If it keeps failing above the IB high, you need to be careful of a failed auction on ES if you're trading ES. Very, very different charts. We're right in the middle of the initial balance on the NQ. We are holding yesterday's afternoon high. All right, so yesterday we dumped down, we pulled back, we failed at the lows. Today we've got above that pullback and we're basing on it. So failing back into these levels again. Remember, this is high time frame. You can see it here. This is the easiest way for you to see it, I guess. This right here. Afternoon spike. All right, so we dumped yesterday. I'll move this up for you. Dumped yesterday, pullback, continuation, sideways, push, completed sort of inverse head and shoulders, expansion above it. Do we hold this level? This is the higher time frame structure. This is why it's tricky today. We hold this level, then we can attack up here, which is where we keep failing. So for now, we are trading between, oh, let's get that on. We're trading between here and here. If we start to fail under here, we can come and take this out. Back to VWAP then. Like I said, like there were trades here to be had. It's just very, very tricky for me with how I trade when there's lack of alignment. I don't like trading short into areas where higher time frame buyers might step up. Trading right into New York Open now. So holding VWAP here for now into that block we just talked about. It's where we've just traded right into. So IB high to VWAP trade has occurred. Before the IB was set though, so there was no chance of grabbing this. Some bounce on VWAP here for now. Got a feeling I'm not going to be able to take a trade today, which is fine. Some news coming out from the White House talking about getting hostages released from Gaza. Here's a breakdown here. I'm trying to join some of this here just to get something for the day, something tiny. Beautiful. I'm going to lock something in today. Thank God for that. If we trade through this M5 block of yesterday's, then we can look for those lows on session. This is better now. Come on. Gonna have a decent day now. Down to the algorithm then. Down to both those algorithms. Expect a bounce here. If we flush through this, we can think about IB low, previous day close, previous day low. ES now starting to get weak. VIX with the bounce at 14. We're trading right to these algorithms. Respect these algorithms. If you're in this, take a partial. Locking in $1,000 on the day. Thank the Lord, at least I got $1,000. It's better than a kick in the teeth, as we would say. So looking here to see if we stay heavy. Remember, you have to respect the higher time frame. Buyers have shown up here again and again today. Make sure you're watching the M5s. Right, where have we just traded into? Point of control, all right? And the M5 right here, breaking down into VWAP. This is where buyers so far have been turning up today, here and here. If we start to get underneath their prices, then we can think about a bigger, fuller rotation. On days like today, I will scout my way along. So for those of you in America, I'm about to eat something called Marmite. Marmite and cheese on toast. I don't know if any of you have had it. Very, very typically British. We're underneath the New York Open, so potential for first red day here on the New York session. Nvidia around that 39 level. Marmite, yeah. Marmite and sardines. That sounds horrific, TR. What is that? Cup of coffee with it. Cup of coffee, not tea for me. Tea's an afternoon thing for me. We might get continuation here. VWAP staying heavy. Back into those higher time frame and lower time frame algorithms. Oh, mate. Yeah, I know. Oh, mate. Same. You have Vegemite as well, don't you? Over in Oz. Here we go. So continuation lower here. Move your stops down. If you took the VWAP rejection, move your stops down. We're starting to see trend develop. We are coming into higher time frame levels. You're trading around point of control now. Expansion will be down towards 500. You have to respect 500 whole number and the IB. Yeah, Marmite cheddar. It's exactly what I've got here. Capped, exactly what I'm eating. Split the audience always. So SPY into VWAP, finding a bid. Don't overstay your welcome here. All right, make sure you're taking profits along the way. Nothing's confirmed yet in multiple time frame. We can still hold bids here on an H1. Very happily, it can still hold bids here. Looking good. It's looking very good here. You want to see SPY let go of its VWAP. QQQ coming down to its low of day. Not much on the tape. 450, the biggest order, downside, and then 400. 100 lot down at 400. Here's the expansion then, looking very good now. You want to see ES start to continue lower with the NQ here. Please make sure you're zooming out constantly. Look where you are. Right, don't be chasing this short as you start to come into higher time frame demand levels. Beautiful. This H1's looking really good. So looking into these levels on H1 now. 500, 590, take partials into those. Sorry, 490 and 500. Here's your IB low coming up right here. Just make sure you've got something off, all right? Something off in this move. This is one of the better moves of the session. And then hold your runners for expansion lower. Very nice. Hey, Ryan. Market's been tricky, but we just got this short. We're looking good now. Very nice. Very nice. Keeps expanding. Respect that IBL now. You don't want to reclaim of IBL. You can move your stop down aggressively. You should be in this comfortably up 40, 50 points right now. Beautiful. This is looking good. So ES to VWAP here. Expect a potential bounce coming soon. There's the bounce off VWAP on ES. Okay, so back to IB. If we stay heavy versus IB, potential back down to the lows we created yesterday. But again, location's getting worse and worse for the short as we go lower. Momentum's been better, location not as good. We can have an IB day, remember. We can trade from IB high to VWAP to IB low. We might have a failed auction back to VWAP. Can easily do that. The shorts were here. So I tried one here, took it straight away, took another here, took it into here, and then you should be runners. Just had to let it set up. Once we got a signal, it became a little bit easier. Max, I'm up nice, 1,714 for the day. You are the best, Alex. Well done, buddy. Yeah, Ryan, you love the IBs, don't you? That's your favorite play. Bo. Excuse my age, my friend. What does the WDYM mean? So still rejecting the IB low. ES letting go of VWAP. Expansion is possible here. ES trading into previous day close. We have a little way to go here on the Qs. TPs are here and here. What do you mean? Okay, what do you mean by high time frame algos buying here? Okay, this level right here where we found a bid. This is a high time frame algo and a lower time frame algo. Once we get flow zones trade through this, this can be a signal for lower. So it's just done off a lot of back testing. So all the time here, this blue line is the lower time frame algo right here. We always trade back to it. And this one here is the higher time frame algo, and they converged together. We found a bounce and they let go. So this is telling me the higher time frame algos are not bidding this now. If we get momentum through here, we can trade downside. So So coming into previous day close now, this white line. We're at yesterday's point of control now. Look at an H1. Where did we break out from? And I think this was in London. Here's your down. Here, here, here. We don't want to be short in here. Right, this is where buyers have shown their hand. If we get under this and reject, we can get short here for a continuation lower. But we do not short in here where we know buyers have shown up over and over again. That is one of the better moves today. I would say the long we got this morning up, the squeeze up was good, and that short started paying. Ramos, a great day. Got 30 points on the move down. Thank you, Alex. You're welcome. You're welcome. So hit me with a W in chat. Hopefully some of you might still be holding on to this, but remember, if we start reclaiming IB, I wouldn't be holding on to it. Hit me with a W in chat if you got that short down. Foster Scott, lovely. Lovely. Tyson, lovely, lovely aid. Good work, Tyson, flipping your thesis. Very important to be able to do that. We talked about it in Discord. Don't be too fixed today. Ramos with the W, DJ Noah, W with the early move. That's great. All you need is one move. Jeff with the W, Max with the W. Lovely work, team. Every day showing up, the same characters showing up every day, making money. Just follow the system. All right, base hits, follow the system. Take your win, move on. Next day mentality, next trade mentality. It's going up, back up from here. Yeah, maybe. ES traded to previous day close. We are looking to see if we can reclaim initial balance low here. If we reclaim it, the likely trade will be back up towards the VWAP, but it doesn't mean it has to continue higher. We will just have to see. Seven more likes. Only just checked it. 7 more likes to get to 50. Help me out, team. Let's get the 50 likes. So starting to reclaim initial balance here. Starting to drive back upside. So the first target will be the VWAP, which is also New York Open. Most of Mag 7 is still green. Nvidia and Apple, the only ones red on the session, and Nvidia down about just over 0.5%, Apple down 0.25%. Miguel, seeing hidden bullish divergence on the M5 on NQ for now. Yeah, very, very possible. Had a big, big move down there into key levels. Still think it has possibility of continuation lower. You need to see really a failed breakdown to know that buyers really want to come back in. Right? Don't think we should do a V-shaped bottom like we did earlier. We've swept these levels now. We've even swept this. So a failed move lower is when you know buyers are probably stepping back in. But so far, other than the M1, which is now starting to go into a bullish structure, if it holds this, can squeeze back up to here. But you need to respect momentum. Momentum still solidly down. This here. So, I don't be buying these until these change for me. Even if this is an early change on an M1. M5, everything above an M1 right now will be bearish. On the right chart for you guys. So no change there. So M2, no change, which means everything above it, no change. The only one which you could argue there's a flip on is the M1. Everything else will be bearish right now. It's why it's important not to get too zoomed into the M1. If you're thinking about change of characters and break of structures, M1 will change and flip all the time. Just move up a few time frames. This is just a pullback to go lower until it proves otherwise. ES back towards its VWAP then. SPY at its VWAP right now. QQQ comfortably under the VWAP, trading downside. It's looking to retest its pre-market lows and yesterday's lows. It's what it's looking like it wants to do right now. Especially if ES lets go of VWAP, you might get continuation here. I'm still a buyer at 450 and 400. So if they get a break of structure here, they're going to be looking for a move down through previous day close. The white line and previous day lows are down here. Again, don't love these shorts down here now. Rejection of here is good, but I don't love adding short here for a breakdown. It's a higher risk move. Doesn't mean you can't take it, but it's definitely a lot later than these shorts we had up here, 60, 70 points higher. Tyson, what platform are you on? If you're on Top Step X, it will be incorrect. Their VWAPs are always incorrect. Trading View, just standard VWAP. This is just standard VWAP. Don't change anything. You might have it, if you're on regular trading hours, it would show different. Could be that. Yeah, this VWAP is the same on all my charts on NinjaTrader as well. It's printing the same. So previous day close here. So coming into a big daily levels, maybe we go for previous day low if it starts breaking down under this. If you're still in the runners, congratulations. It's a very nice move. Don't be chasing this lower though. We're still in basically a giant range. We've returned back into yesterday's afternoon range now. So have a look, those in Discord, at the red line we talked about, breakout, failure into this same level, and then return back into range. That's what we've got. We always knew there was 4 possible options today. So M5, M15 momentum very much better now, downside looking much, much better, much clearer. Daily just trading inside, so we're trading inside bars on the daily. An hourly return into range. NQ still has the potential, remember, to do a gap fill down to here if it really, really wants to. It will have to let go of yesterday's lows and range, and it will have to reject it. You had it anchored, yeah. Anchored to 930, you can use that. I often run both. If we're gapping up or gapping down a lot, I will run the anchor. If we're not, I'm not too worried about it. But remember, I'm also got my ETFs there. So my ETFs, the VWAP on the ETFs are exactly the same as where an anchor would be. But they're basically anchored off an 8:30 a.m. print. That's when the ETFs open. But they're all thereabouts. So PDC here, Seller on the tape is all the way up at 550. Buyer on the tape at 450 and 400. 400 is the biggest lot on the book right now. 120 lot down there at 400. Doesn't mean it has to get there. I'm just saying what I'm seeing on the tape. So we think about this liquidity. We are still in a very clear downtrend. No reason to do anything else other than respect it unless we start to do this. And then it's going to be a failed auction underneath and an inverse head and shoulder for a trade back up towards VWAP and New York Open. Until then, we respect it. We don't go guessing bottoms. That's how you get yourself in trouble. You also don't chase, all right? The short was here and here. The short is not here. Like I said, do not chase down here in higher time frame demand. Main thing is just to be disciplined. Watch the video we did at the weekend. ES trading back to VWAP now. Location. Ask yourself before every trade. What is the location on the higher time frame? What is the momentum on the higher time frame? Analyze that, understand that, then go to your lower time frame. What is the location? What is the momentum? Will save you a lot of headache, right? We knew this morning location here was good, and once we squeezed, momentum was good. Location here was not good to buy, and once we turned, momentum was not good to buy. Location here was terrible to buy, but momentum was strong, and we faded back. Once we got here, location was good for a short, momentum was good for a short, and that was a good play, right? So this was a good play, this was a good play, everything else in between has been 50-50. 3 more likes to get to 50. We're almost there, team. And I'll try and stick around for another 45 minutes with you. You never know, maybe we get a trend day. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Trend day down, dump another 200 points. That would be a lovely day. Can't see it happening right now. Pretty big volume exchanged down here. Bruce, $2,887 through my guidance, 9K in 3 days. Thank you. Well, you're absolutely welcome. Good trading. Good trading, Bruce. That's the first time I've seen your name in chat, so thank you for turning up. Great work. So watching this H1 bar here, we've extended, we filled an old H1 imbalance. We're trading back to yesterday's point of control. We're trading back to the levels where the H1 found buys this morning, but we've broken down under. So the question is, do we start reclaiming some of these or not? If we're in a range rotation, we probably reclaim it and trade back inside the previous bar. If we're going to have continuation, it's going to need to start to reject some of these levels. So market's slowing down here while it's making its decision. Still on the lower time frame, you have lower lows, lower highs. You have to respect that. The flow zones are still in a downtrend. But like I said, if its aim was just to trade back into this H1 place where we broke out from this morning, all right, remember the higher time frame, Where did we break out from this morning? Right here. Here's the imbalance. We've repriced to this point of origin where we started this whole move. If this is the move, they trade back up to here, and then we see what's what. Yeah, thanks for turning up, Bruce. Thanks to everyone for turning up every day. We're on a heater right now. Even when it's tough, we seem to manage to get the trades when they turn up. It's just a question of waiting, honestly. It is a question of just waiting and being patient. So do they get continuation? If we fail to get a break of structure, that's what will frustrate these shorts who are chasing. So if shorts are chasing here and they can't get a break of structure, then we're likely to pivot up. Right, nothing confirmed yet. That's your swing high. Right, this is the high that created this low. There's no change of character till we get through here. But if they fail to get the break of structure, we can trade back up towards VWAP if we get through the IB high and through this. Easy traders up to here. We have to respect New York Open and VWAP and the deep pullback. And if we start to squeeze through here, then obviously there is a ton of liquidity up here it can search for. We're going to continue lower. You'd like to see maybe a sweep and a turn back in and lower prices back down to previous day low. And then we reassess here, right? We reassess here if we're going lower or if we sweep and come back higher. So far, it feels like those shorts are having a hard time chasing the lows. ES just doing the dance between previous day close and VWAP. Keeps rejecting VWAP so far. It's had one spike through it to an M5 block and rejected it. Starting to build here. Like I said, shorts can very easily get trapped here if we fail to give them a break of structure. There's nothing confirmed to the upside, but it is starting to feel that way. ES can still make a new lower low. It has not come down and swept its liquidity. That's been the story of ES pretty much all day today. SPY and ES much weaker when you look at the structure. If you zoom out on an M10, M15, M5, you will see what I mean. They are much weaker. It's never once got above its pivot. VIX right at that 14 level. So dancing around IBL and flow zones right now. If enough shorts get trapped, we probably do a quick squeeze up towards point of control and VWAP. So POC is around 11 and VWAP is around 30. But again, respect the structure in front of you. Nothing to say it's a long yet. We just stick with trend until proves otherwise. There's always two theses going on at all times. Either buyers are trapped or shorts are trapped. We trade accordingly. So trying to trigger a squeeze out here. Those late shorts possibly about to get punished. ES back to VWAP, SPY not there yet. Remember where smart selling came in was around here. This is what we're starting to do. So can it trigger this? Maybe even just to here. We have to see. Remember, we're still in an inside day, right? Look at the daily. We're in an inside day, right? Two days. This is the third day in this range. Because we failed to break out yesterday and we failed to break out both sides. So we're just trading in this range. This is building liquidity for CPI. Remember, 5-day moving up, Bollinger Band moving up. CPI gives a nice print. It has the potential to come up here. If we give a bad print, we can go for gap fill. Lots of stops will be trapped in these zones. Inside days build liquidity. It's exactly what they do. What's everyone doing for the rest of the day? Lots of you made your money now. So if you don't need to sit here and stare at the charts all afternoon, what are you going to do the rest of your day? I'm deciding, do I go for a cycle today? Do I go and do like a 50K cycle? My legs are tired. I'm doing 3-day whole body splits at the moment, which I'm not used to. I'm only second weekend, but I think the weather is looking quite nice. It is looking beautiful in California, so thinking about going for a long cycle. Real job. Well, not long, guys. Stick it out with me for a while. Nothing wrong with working a real job, but hopefully we'll get you on that path to getting rid of it. Trading full time. Just take your time doing it. Yeah, it's a pain. I have to do everything individually on NinjaTrader. Yeah, ES still has room there, Foster Scott, if it's going to let go. Just a little bit tricky. The market now just slowed right down. Nice aid. Yeah, I can't imagine there's much worse than doing jiu-jitsu with a headache, Tyson. Just getting your neck and head rolled around on a mat. Probably not very fun. Yeah, that was pretty quick, and it's whippy here for you, Foster Scott, for ES. Like I said, ES is being a little bit tricky today. It's making the whole market a little bit tricky. SPY and ES definitely the weaker of the two in terms of where they are positioned, but it's not searching as well. But there you go, rejection off VWAP, off that drive up. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 5-minute bars, not pretty here, but still in a downtrend. Downtrend still intact on that 5-minute. Was that one last move up to come and whip everyone out? Would be nasty. Back to PDC then. Volatility did spike up on that last bar and the bar before. Feels like it wants to let go on ES, doesn't it? Very tricky. Like shorts, they need a break of structure to the downside for continuation for them to be comfortable. If they can't get it, again, failed breakdowns, failed breakouts are where you get one side trapped. Yeah, the main flow zones are EMA based. Market just doing a dance here. Feels like it wants to move lower, but again, you can't really be shorting here on NQ unless we start to really break down with conviction. But those flow zones are holding so far. We never got the change of character to upside, so like I said, you have to stick to the shorts. The initial balance low, rejecting for continuation. Location just of that initial balance low, less than ideal. $450 and $400 still on the tape then. Feels like the draw, just based on the tape, not based on structural points. London Asia low is basically at 450. It's possible. A sweep there. Look how quickly that swept and crept back upside. Very, very fast. Do they stay heavy here and look for previous day low? That's the question. It's the constant question right here. Is ES going to go for that initial balance low or not? No breakdown yet on the ES. So if you took this initial balance low, you need to be taking some profit here, then holding runners from here. If we get a move like this, we can have continuation lower, right? You will need it to basically stay heavy underneath 425 around here. And then you can think about potential gap fill. But remember, the SPY and the ES have already filled their gap. We talked about it at the open this morning. Still no sweep on the ES. It's pretty ugly. Now maybe it's going to trade a little bit low. It needs to take out these wicks on a 5-minute to have that stop run down. Need to be very careful if it sweeps from turn inside. "30 minutes left of this session." Remember, we are right now at point of origin where we were overnight. I can't say it enough. Make sure you keep zooming out. We're back to where we were yesterday and overnight. Right, so push up, failure into supply, back down, into where we were overnight. We can only get a continuation short now, really, if we're going to come down and stay heavy for this move. You do not want to see it come down and come back inside. You cannot be shorting that if it does that move. $450, they're starting to stack up at 450, 75 lot there now. It's going to look to search and take him out, I would say. Underneath that, that 400. So ES now starting to break down towards its IBL. So I don't know if you got back in, Foster Scott. And it's starting to do that move. Just whipped you out into VWAP. Yep, good work. Good work. We now have an M15 imbalance from yesterday's afternoon spike. So I'm just interested if we ever return back into that later in the session and how we act up there. So that'd be all the way up at 520 to 544. Up here. Feels like it wants to come and take Asia London low. It really feels like it wants to do that move. Sort of 450, 448, 440, 435 would be an obvious draw of liquidity right now. Yeah, exactly. Into previous day low. Exactly. Previous day low, Asia London low. All stacked very, very tightly down here. Nvidia nicely red. I can't remember who was taking puts in chat, but you should be looking pretty good right now. Underneath 139 comfortably, trading at 136.60s. A little bit front running there on the covers now, it seems. Yes, with the bounce as well. We've completely filled that H1 imbalance where we broke out from this morning at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Trade back to flow zones. Tricky here because I don't want to chase it, even though I think that draw comes and takes that liquidity out. Don't really want to be chasing this. Bad location. Great momentum, bad location. The daily stays heavy though against previous day close. Feels like it has room. How long we got left? Oh, not long into lunch. Feel like this goes lower, but probably need to set it out. So flow zones looking for continuation lower into these prices. London low is 49 or so, 48, 49. Still got a buyer at 50, still not been taken out yet. Below that, you've got a buyer at 400 with 128 locked down there. Yeah, I go there all the time, Trading Wizard. I live just around the corner. I'm not far from there at all. There's the move trying to go lower then. There you go. So now it's searching for that liquidity that we talked about. All right, so 50s and then previous day low. Watch the volume being exchanged here. Okay, you cannot be chasing this down here, even if it goes lower. Get out the habits of chasing price near lows. Like we talked about, it will need to really break down on an H1. We're trading at a point of control from last week right now. I think it's Wednesday last week, Tuesday last week. When's this? Wednesday last week. ES is still not taken out. It's IBL, still not taken out. Previous day low. It's been protecting it all day so far, but I would imagine those stops get run. Break of 61 on ES should just trigger enough stops to come and take out previous day low. A lot of volume exchanged there on that last candle. $20 minutes until a new H1 bar. Where this H1 closes is going to be key. It needs to close weak and underneath all of the previous demand for a chance for the next H1 to retest demand, for it to become supply to move lower. If it closes here or inside, then maybe we just trade back up towards 500. Right, so you need this H1 to close weak underneath all of this. If it closes down here, then we can look for reprice to go lower. If it doesn't close weak, then you need to be worried about the next bar doing this. CC, we've not swept any liquidity to go up. Again, I will say this every single day you come in here. You are trying to pick reversals way too often, my friend. Way too often. Please try and get out that habit. Every day when we're going lower, you're saying, are we going up now? Every day we go higher, you say we're going down now. There's always two opportunities in the charts to do something, but until it proves to you what you're looking at, then you shouldn't be thinking about the reversal. I would like to think at least you're just asking the question and you've not been adding long into this on the way down. Guessing bottoms is the easiest way to get blown out. Guessing bottoms and guessing tops. There is nothing in here right now saying we're ready to go up. We're in multi-time frame down. We're in trend down. We have liquidity below we can aim for. Until there is a reason where it's taken it out and pivoted up and flow zones support price action back upside, we don't think about the longs. It's as simple as that. You trade your own book. If you want to guess bottoms, that's fine, but it's just not how I trade. Yeah, exactly, Bobo. Lots still has liquidity to search for. Still has the London low, which we're about to take. Very, very close. 48 is the London low, and then previous day low. Yeah, tapping on London low or there or thereabouts. ES as well, about to stop run everyone at the IBL. If ES takes the IBL, I would expect it to take previous day low out just by using that liquidity to go lower in the stop run quickly. Then we can see what's what. Yeah, TR, I don't hate that trade. I don't love the location of the PDC, but I don't hate that trade. I would have much rather this was like up here, but I don't hate that trade as long as you have a tight stop in here. Move your stop into the money. Yeah, correct, Snooker. That's it. Avoid the temptation. That's it. If you're not in the short already, we can't be shorting down here. So far, initial balance low has been a nice short. And a nice short for a continuation down. It should just be moving your stop down with it, taking partials into these areas. Like I said, 48 is the overnight low. Red line on the chart here. It's where London buyers came in. And then you're looking at these levels down here. Did it take full 50? Some of his orders, yeah, not all of him. It's got 23 left on the book there. 400 the next level on the book underneath that. Oh, Miguel, there's lots you can use. The one I'm using is called Kill Zones and Pivots by TFO. I turn most of it off. I'm only interested in London and Asia, but if you put anything in like Kill Zones or London Asia session, there's tons and tons on TradingView. If you use NinjaTrader, there's also some on NinjaTrader you can use. What is this one I'm using? Let me tell you. Session colors I'm using on NinjaTrader does exactly the same thing. So tapping onto London low right now. 48, still not quite taking the liquidity there. 48 is the liquidity, and that should give you a quick run into PDL. Yeah, I think that's pretty much been priced into Bitcoin for the last few weeks. Everyone knows Trump's loving crypto. It was the main reason for the rally. But they're going to keep, anyone into Bitcoin is going to keep printing that news over and over and over again, hoping that we can get continuation higher. But Bitcoin down about 3,000 points today. So here's your ES, looking for that stop run of all those buyers at initial balance low. That should take it into the previous day low if it can do it. I think longs are getting stopped out down here. And they're trying to accumulate, but for now they've got stopped out on this push down. And I think we can go a little bit lower first before we consider anything. Remember, NQ still has a big gap to fill. If ES trades back to its overnight low, that is effectively the gap fill. So first reaction there. You're still in a downtrend. Just remember that. You're still in a downtrend. But a reaction there on ES, protecting its IBL. Yeah, Glenn, like today has not been an easy day, buddy. Don't worry. And I know you've been on a bit of a tear recently. Same as most people in chat. Don't worry about it. Not every day is going to be super easy. Try not to think about it as a missed opportunity. Just be like, you didn't catch that one. We sit and wait for the next one. It happens. You got your whole career ahead of you. You're not gonna nail everything every day. And if you can keep that mentality, it will also stop you chasing, stop you forcing things. Because if you feel like you've missed stuff, it's very easy to change that into some form of tilt to oversize or push for a trade which isn't on. It would have been very easy for me this morning when I was long here and had the wrong ATM and got stopped out to then try to buy up here. Yeah, try and force my opinion on it. So really important you don't never feel like you're missing anything. So a little bit of a short squeeze up here. Again, no shift yet. I would even argue we haven't swept anything yet. Still not convinced. I'm not convinced. Ten minutes till lunch. So looking like it's trying to put a squeeze on here and start to trade upside. But again, it's still underneath the daily levels right now. Very similar to here. This, I would argue, on a 1 minute created this, but on a 5 minute or anything above, we can trade all the way back to here. But potential for a squeeze trigger above here, but you have to respect this is where sellers came in for the continuation leg. Still in structure of downside pressure. There you go. That's why I don't really care about 1 minute structure too much. What I would say is volume came in here, but again, we have not swept. This is literally London low here and previous day low here. We haven't swept any of it. ES with a clear rejection so far of previous day close right here. So how it reacts here, key, but again, what I would say is there's still draws of liquidity here. But we did have some volume step in right here in these candles. But if we continue to go down here, we trade lower. I don't like anything upside right now because we haven't taken out external liquidity. Yes, with a clear rejection of previous day close here. Still, when we're dangling this close, I expect us to go and run liquidity out of the market first. So all pops being sold into so far until proved otherwise. Flow zones are not green yet. Everything's still red. There's absolutely nothing to say that today we can't trade all the way down to 21,300. You have to remember that. We have to remember that. That is possible. So if you're betting on buying here without structure to go up, you are opening yourself up to get slammed on. Doesn't mean it can't do this move. It can do this move, but there's nothing from a structural point of view yet to say it's going to do that. All right, tons of liquidity here. Look at all these stops. Right, all these buyers stops. We can easily take them out and go lower, and we can easily take them out and then use them and go higher. Like I said, this here is very similar to up here earlier. Max, I would say, sounds like you're over trading. Just slow right down. Nice, Andrew. Good work. Hopefully a nice green day. Starting to see a little bit of tapering here. Remember, we're coming into a new hourly bar. We're coming into lunch. This is a daily level here. This is the first time we're seeing possibly this and this. This opens the door to this. This is your 5 minute structure. This is where sellers have been. 5 minute just ran a load of stops out here. Right, so all the late shorts took them now. Does it trade down now or not? Can reprice on a 5 minute if it really wants to, up towards 90s. Yeah. I'm really not interested in doing it much right now until I see a very clear momentum shift or a very clear take of liquidity. Two minutes until lunch. Right, so probably done for the day, unless something very, very clear and obvious sets up later. Probably done for the day. Again, we said today might be tricky, might be a lot of games today due to CPI. So repricing that M5 into towards the deep pullback. Yes, still inside its initial balance, remember. You have a new H1 bar coming. Remember what we said about this H1 bar, how this closes is important. This H1 bar is closing back upside. Most of the volume on the session has now been traded down here around 71. That's the new point of control on the session. So this H1 bar closing back towards its point of origin where we broke down from. Remember, this here is where we broke down from on H1 bars. Here. So I had you on the wrong chart. So this is POC now. This is where we broke down from on multiple H1 bars. So we've traded back towards that area. This is not a heavy close. This is a new H1 bar now. And you're into lunch. Expect volume to taper right off now. I would consider walking away for an hour or two at least. At least. Still have liquidity to the downside it can search for if it wants to. 470 is on the book and 400. Sorry, tired now. Staring at the screens for 3 hours or so. That's always enough for me. It's when I get to max pain. But I'm going to go and enjoy my day. It's beautiful outside. Small day today, but we got it in the end. We got a piece of it in the end. Would have been much better had I taken the time to make sure I had the right ATM strategy. On how I changed that, I do not know. In fact, before I make any more mistakes, what I'm going to do is save this workspace so it doesn't do the same thing tomorrow, or hopefully doesn't. Any questions before I sign off, team? Sounds like you're all set. All right, team. Back tomorrow. Remember, CPI tomorrow morning. Expect volatility to start upticking. And be cautious today. All right, you might get a little bit of positioning and a little bit of hedging coming in for tomorrow. Keep one eye on the VIX. All right, one eye on the VIX and the ES. Look at those levels of liquidity. Don't be forcing yourself into bad positions, right? Remember, we have to think about location all the time on the higher time frame. All right, thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. Back tomorrow. Trade safe. Use hard stops. I still can't talk properly. That's how tired I am. Peace and love.